Everyone, it's Priscilla here from Keeping Up with Taylor T. I thought today that I'd share with you, a winter wellness, how to deal with impetigo and or cold sores. So this actually applies and extends to cold sores, but the focus for today's video will be on impetigo and what is impetigo and how to treat it when you recognize the symptoms. So for me, I have had impetigo ever since I was, say, in year 7. So it happened to me the first time that I had it was after going to a public swimming pool, and I think from there on it's just lay there dormant inside my body until something triggers it, and then the blisters will then form due to stress, a weakened immune system, so if I haven't had enough sleep, too much wind or sun exposure, and this is usually how you get cold sores as well. So a lot of the times if I'm really stressed and I'm, say, at the snowfields or something, then I find myself getting an episode of cold sores. There are certain things that you can do or take to reduce it, but I think again, I feel like I could go on about cold sore treatments in a whole new video. So I think today predominantly the focus will be on impetigo, if that's okay. So you'll probably notice that since my last video, I think it's been over a week now, but my skin has just recovered from impetigo, speaking of the devil. So for me, I had, if you can see, the scarring here, and this will generally go away within a matter of weeks. But I just wanted to show you, I guess, a raw el natural video because it is a real skin infection and issue that when I first looked around online, there wasn't too many resources. So that kind of inspired me to do this video, because if I had known what I know today back in the day, then I'd be able to deal with it a lot better. So what is impetigo? So impetigo is a highly contagious skin infection that causes red sores on the face that generally blister. It generally affects a lot of, it can affect babies, infants, and also sports players. The symptom is red sores that form around the nose and the mouth. The sores rupture. They ooze for a few days and then form a yellowy brown crust. So what I'm going to discuss today is we're going to park antibiotics, because usually you need to take them within the first 24 hours. But if you don't really recognize the symptoms and you don't take the antibiotics in time, it kind of loses the effectiveness of it. So I think for me, in my recent episode a week ago, my impetigo actually healed within 3 days, because as soon as I woke up, I could just feel that it was sore, tingly, but I couldn't differentiate if it was a cold sore or impetigo. Then after the first day, I knew it was impetigo because it was a little bit blistery, it was weeping, it was a little bit yellow, and it was crusting. So the main aim is that you don't want it weeping, you actually want it to be crusting, and once it's crusted, you can then that's when the healing process begins. So what I actually use, I've written down some things that have helped me and things that also hasn't been effective for me. So the first thing that I have here is, as soon as you feel like the onset of impetigo is coming, I would use this Physohex antibacterial wash. So it says here it's a face wash for cleaner skin and fewer pimples, but this stuff is really, really strong. It's got 1% of triclosan, and it says apply enough Physohex face wash into palm to cover a 20-cent coin. That is way too much. You only apply it onto the impetigo lesion, and never use your fingers, because as soon as you get impetigo or cold sores or whatever it may be, if you don't use the patches, you definitely need cotton tips. Cotton tips will be your best friend. The next thing as well is cotton pads. So this one, what I like about this one is that it's one like this, but then it peels into, so it's 1, 2, and then 3, 4. So what I usually do is, and my hands are clean at the moment, you always make sure that your hands are clean, and you can use a T.N. Dickinson's Witch Hazel, which contains, I think, 14% alcohol. Yep, it does contain 14% alcohol. Or you could use something a little bit more natural, which is your Weleda refining toner, and this is again just a natural witch hazel. But if you need the industrial strength one, then the Physohex, I would not recommend you using this all over your face, because my face just got really, really red from, it was just way too strong. So I would just recommend using a cotton tip. Every time you touch it, just chuck it out. Like, I know it seems really wasteful, but you'd rather just be safe than sorry, because you don't want to promote any more spreading. You want to promote healing. So I would usually just use cotton tips. And if you're thinking, oh crap, it's actually not impetigo and it's a cold sore, then just use the Blistex cold sore cream. And another thing is the Propovir, which is just propolis liquid. So some people might be allergic to propolis, but it's actually got a lot of skin healing properties, and it's great for wounds and I guess anti-inflammatory. So these are really good. And another thing that you can use, and again, be sure to make sure that you're not allergic to this, is the Betadine antiseptic paint. So I've nearly run out of this. I got this as a duo in Hong Kong, and it's really funky because it looks like nail polish. But what I do is I just dip in the cotton tip into it, and then I kind of use it as antiseptic. Or you can also wash the wound in antiseptic cream with Savlon. But generally, I just use to wash it the Physohex. I use the cotton pads, cotton tips. Every time I've touched it, I generally just chuck it out, just so that my bare hands and skin don't touch it, because I don't want to spread it. And each time that's managed to work. But guys, this is the most important thing, the Batroban. If you can get your hands on this, this is probably the best cream to treat impetigo in my experience. And I've been dealing with impetigo for decades. It's just lay there dormant in my skin like a cold sore until something triggers it, and then boom, it just comes out. And then there's nothing you can do. So you just have to make sure that you're getting enough sleep, your immunity's not down, and that you're eating well, and all of that good stuff. So the last thing that I also wanted to say is the tea tree face wipes. So these are face wipes for acne. I don't use it on my face, but I'll just use it in the area that I want to just sort of exfoliate naturally. And this will really help promote, again, clear skin and healing of the impetigo. So one thing that I wanted to note is that impetigo would generally recur in the same areas as it's popped up before. So usually I'll get it either near the nose. Cold sores I'll get on my lip, up the top, and it's always in a similar spot, or other areas of my skin, and then generally just around this area. So those are common places for me. It might be different for everyone, and I know I've met a few other people in my lifetime that have said that they've had it really bad up their nostrils and it's just been everywhere. But I think luckily for me, every time I've been, generally a majority of the times, I've been able to identify it relatively quickly and stop the spread. So another thing that when I was looking up online as well, they said Manuka honey is good for it. So they say to put it on for 20 minutes. But I would say please be careful with this method, because if you're not careful with the application and removal method, then you can increase the spread of the affected area. So I would say I personally wouldn't use that unless my skin was, unless it was on a wound that's not impetigo. Another tip would be just to keep your fingernails short. I know if you're touching the other areas of your face, like say use a Cetaphil cleanser, something that has around a pH 5.5. But so it's all good and well to apply all these creams and treatments, but the best thing that you can do for your skin is just, number one, keep your nails short, because sometimes if it's long, it can harbor a lot of bacteria and germs. Make sure that you continuously wash your hands for 20 to 30 seconds. Also, make sure that you're not using a face towel to wash your face so that you're spreading anything that that you don't want. I would use cotton pads for cleaning your face. I find like a shower also helps with easing the pain and just all the associated emotions that come out with it. And the first thing that you should also do is wash your bath towels, your face towels, and change your pillowcase and ideally, if you can, your sheets as well. Another thing that I like to do is just make my own salt water and then just clean the lesion with salt water as well. So that also helps dry it out quicker. What I've also tried in the past is a lemon balm, a tea tree essential oil, eucalyptus essential oil, geranium mixture. That helped to an extent, but I would stick with the Batraban. I wouldn't mess with the tried and tested method, which is this. It's great. And I think if you didn't want to buy all this stuff, like these two itself on its own is really good. Just remember they're super strong stuff. So I wouldn't go applying it to the unaffected area of your skin, just the area that's affected. And another thing that I've also used in the past is colloidal silver. So that was great initially at drying it out, but it was really expensive and it didn't slow down the growth rate. And for me, it just seemed to aggravate it more towards, and so I think last time when I used it, it didn't promote healing. It did initially promote healing, but it ended up being like around 7 to 10 days. And I think this time round, because I caught it early, I did everything that I could. I was generally working from home as well, so I was able to catch it and it healed within the first 3 days, which was really good. The most important thing that I've learned is just not to stress. Like when you get it, a lot of the times you might not want to go out or everything, but just know that it's not the end of the world. It's going to heal, and just don't worry and just be happy. Like, I know it's hard when you've got it and, you know, it's so painful, it's itchy, it's sore, it's painful, but for me, as long as you get past the weeping stages and it just crusts and then later on it scabs off, then, you know, it's only happy days from there. So I hope this video has helped you guys in some way, shape or form. If you've got any questions, feel free to email, direct message or Instagram me. And I hope you guys take care and have a great day. See you, bye.